Greetings to all of you Internetians. This is Piano Bar Live, where we all connect with live music. The show starts now.
In the spring of this year, health officials made it clear that a plague was nigh.
Though the MAGA hat folks tried to call it all a hoax, we can testify
that with COVID-19, even after quarantine, we must all work to flatten the curve.
with one action so small,
we can get the end we all deserve.
Yes, they say that Mets do it, Yanks do it, Rita Wilson and Tom Hanks do it.
Let's do it. Let's wear a mask. Buckeyes who wind with DeWine do it. Wolverines who have a spine do it.
Let's do it. Let's wear a mask. The Fox News crew cries out, don't do it, to all the rednecks and hicks.
If Hillary won't do it, will Bernie Sanders get sick?
NFL refs flubbing calls do it.
Patriots above deflated balls do it. Let's do it. Let's wear a mask. Each Slovak, Serb, Czech, and Pole does it.
Every Russian bot and troll does it.
Just do it. Just wear a mask. Justin Trudeau in a plank does it.
Kim Jong-un above a tank does it.
Just do it. Just wear a mask.
In Mexico, El Zorro does it.
Incorrectly, I fear. It's just here.
Mike Pence for show does it.
But it zips in the rear.
Israelis out getting gets do it.
Parisians with a hole for cigarettes do it.
Just do it. Just wear a mask.
As the pandemic wears on, it is pretty clear that Dawn is an imbecile.
And just watching TV means a Sazerac or 3 and a sleeping pill.
But remember, my friends, we control the way this ends.
With our actions, we all steer the boat.
So get up off your ass.
Even crawl through broken glass.
And vote. You know that Sting does it.
Cher does it.
Lizzo in her underwear does it. Just do it. Just wear a mask.
Poor Dr. Fauci, the horse does it.
Carrie Fisher out there with a force does it.
Just do it.
Just wear a mask. Miss Cardi B with her WAP does it. A super spreader for sure.
Even Kids Bop does it.
But a tad more demure.
LeBron James after each dunk does it.
Sacha Baron Cohen on his junk does it. Just do it. Just wear a mask.
Hey,
Scott.
Hello, Mardie and Michael.
Hang on 1 second. I'm toggling my sound.
Is that what the kids call it?
Yeah.
All right.
It's not a euphemism for anything.
By the way, that lyric was all written by Mardie Millit.
Thank you.
Very nice work.
My lyric. I had to make him sing it along with me, though. It's funnier.
We all wore a mask, and we all got to vote in the show right now. Hopefully everybody watching did the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm hearing an echo.
I have my thing turned off, but
Sometimes
I have my speaker on so I can hear you.
How do I sound?
You sound fine.
Okay.
I'm not sure I've got everything where it's supposed to be.
It's nice to have you guys here with us.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
This is a weird way to spend election night, but we're weird, so.
A few friends, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how was the voting for you guys? Did you have any
We
issues?
voted. We voted early up here in Harlem. We live at 135th and 5th Avenue. We walked over to our usual place and stood in a big long line.
Yeah.
We expected to be there to wait
2
for
hours.
about an hour or two. And then a lady came along wearing a badge, and she looked at Michael and said, "Are you a senior?" And he is. So I said, "But I'm not," which of course I'm not. But she said, "No, if you're together, you can come too." So it was like that scene in Goodfellas at the Copacabana where we were like Lorraine Bracco and
Ray Liotta.
And Ray Liotta. We got whisked to the front of the line, practically carrying a table over our head, out of the way, VIPs coming through. So we went right to the front, went right in.
Yeah.
I had a similar experience. Hey Tony, Tony. I'm echoing here. Can you bring me on and off?
Yeah. You guys reverse the state. You need to toggle. I don't think you started in singing mode. So please toggle.
Toggle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Echo cancellation.
Yeah, I have it on. I have echo cancellation on now. It should be on, right?
Toggle it back and forth.
Okay.
It was giving us
Sometimes
issues.
you toggle
It's now, echo cancellation is now off.
Okay.
Okay.
Try it.
So
And now
that's
turn it on.
now you have to turn it back on. Okay.
Aha.
Okay.
Yep.
Now how's it going?
Sorry, buddy.
Still echoing. Oh, now it sounds good.
Okay.
So
All right.
I kind of had that same experience when I went, and though I went to look for that person and said I'm a senior, and got whisked ahead and taken really good care of. I voted on 102nd in Amsterdam, and I'm a kid from the city here, and I can tell you the one thing that I noticed, interestingly enough, was in the day when we would go to vote, it was one of the places when we would go to the school or wherever my parents were voting, there was always a policeman stationed in front. It was just part of the protocol. There were no uniformed people at the opening of the going into the voting place this time, but on the way out, there was some presence. So that's the way to do that. No uniforms in the front, and I felt comfortable on the way out, and everybody inside could not have been nicer.
The poll workers in New York City are always friendly, amazing people. We always make sure we stop and thank them as much as we can.
Yeah, those are all, really, they're heroes and essential workers at the moment for sure.
Right.
So speaking of old, I'm going to bring an old friend on to join us right now, Mr. Aaron Lee Battle.
Yay!
Hi, Aaron. Hello. Did you just call me old?
I said old friend, and we've seen a lot. We've been around, and tell me about how was your experience going? And everything smooth for you? They took good care of you. You're in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, it was great. Over here in Brooklyn, I actually voted the first day of early voting. But I was going to try and wait, and then I got overly anxious, and I got there, and I thought I wouldn't be anyone there, so I got there about 9:30. And, the polls opened at 10 that day. So, but I had a little line when I got there. I was kind of surprised. And I waited about an hour. And it was nice, and people were nice, and people were having conversation in the line and being, really just kind of being New Yorkers. Good New Yorkers. New York people, we know the New Yorkers that are wonderful. Everybody else thinks we're terrible people. But they were fantastic. And I got there, and the line moved very quickly once it started. But people kept coming. And we had a line that looked like a cinnamon bun, because all of a sudden it just kept doing this because they didn't realize how many people were going to come. So people actually did make their own line, and it actually worked very well. No one got crazy, and everyone, we voted, got there, and I was listening to you guys, and the poll workers really are fantastic. They were really, really wonderful, and I thank them too. I think they were just fantastic.
Yeah, some of the lines across the country I saw actually entertainment came out and performed for the line. So there you go. That music that we count on to build relationships. I'm going to bring, right now, we generally do Tony's Corner. So we're going to go there now to Tony's Corner, and we're going to welcome Matt Berman.
Hola.
Hi, Matt.
Hi. Hey.
Matt, you're our surprise.
I am.
You're our November surprise.
Yeah, right. My first official act is to ask Aaron to click his toggle.
There we go. I love that toggle.
Click my toggle.
Click your toggle, darling.
No, don't worry. You'll get to unclick it later.
Toggle.
Okay.
So Matt has joined us today here at the Piano Bar Live to help us with our running of our StreamYard, our live stream, because we weren't sure. Tony's been getting work, and he might have had a gig to go to, but we actually got Matt to come in and sub so that Tony could do that. But he's here as well, so don't go anywhere yet. A couple of things I want to mention to everybody. Firstly, please, if you can help us here at Piano Bar Live, Matt, if you can show them that little clicker underneath. That is our Venmo and PayPal. And we do appreciate whatever you can help us with in that Venmo and PayPal would be greatly appreciated. Also, for today, we'd really love to know where everybody's from. So if you've got your the side on this stream, just log in and tell us where you're watching from. And Matt, thank you again for joining us here. You've been doing some amazing work. Trying to get the streams tighter and the vocalists and the piano players together where they can actually perform in a tighter way. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on when I bring you back out. But
cool.
For now, let's take a look. Let's see how Tony's doing.
Hey.
Hi, Tony.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. This is still echoing, I hear, but I'm not sure why.
I was just about to... So I'll just say this once for the show. Our platform has been a little twitchy, so I'm going to ask you, Aaron, again, if you will just make sure that echo cancellation is checked. And let's see. Look at that. Look at that.
So here,
because I can't hear any. I don't hear any echoing. So
that's right. So now we're solved, and it's everyone else that can hear it. So, but we're good. So thank you so much.
Because it was off before.
We're almost all in place.
It's crazy. Okay.
So, Tony,
you're gonna make me drink before I want to.
Get a drink, Aaron. You should have been drinking already. What are you waiting for?
Oh, I can't sing and drink.
Day.
I'm not one of those people who can sing and drink. I don't remember lyrics half the time anyway.
I see Mardie has something very festive. What is that, Mardie?
This is crop cucumber flavored vodka, which is delicious, and it's organic vodka, so it's practically a salad.
Very
and
nice.
Also, I have this wonderful cup. I don't know if you can see it, but my friend Aaron Steele DeBow sent me this. It says, "I hate everyone." The best fans in the whole world.
That's something we can all unify behind. Thank you.
Exactly. No
I'm like a cat on a hot tin roof today. I really I'm so looking forward to, yet I have so much trepidation. Tony, how was your experience when you went to vote?
Well, it was sort of fun. It was sort of a two-part episode. So my husband, David, and I, David Edwards, for all of you guys out there, he's a kind of a semi-regular Piano Bar Live, but we are up in Harlem, and we went the first day, and we had things to do, things to get to that day. So we went out, and we promptly took a trip completely around the polling area. The line went completely around all four blocks. And we said, well, we're not going to make it through there. So we went through a couple of days later and actually put the vote in. But that first day, socially distanced, people being respectful, people just, it did a lot for my heart. I mean, can I just say, we already have a winner tonight. And I think that in a small way, it's American democracy. 100 million votes already cast. So, we all want what we want out of tonight, but I mean, turning out the vote is where it begins. Far too few people really kind of do that bare minimum that I think is required, or it's incumbent upon us to sort of, it's the one thing we can do for America.
Now more than
For
ever.
everything we get, all we really need to do is vote. So do it.
So we have one more person joining us today, and he voted down in North Carolina. Can we bring on Collin Yates?
Colin.
Hey,
Hey,
Collin.
How are we doing?
We're doing okay, but how are you? Are you? Your stream seems to be broken up a little. Are
You know
hearing-
what, Matt? Yeah, do me a favor, Matt. Can you just take him out of the take him out and bring him back in? That might right it a little bit if it has anything to do with the platform. Otherwise, we'll bear with it. Colin, how you doing? Come back to us. The stream is compromised.
Okay, so we want Collin to go back. We want Collin to go out and come back into the green room. Correct?
That might be another thing for you to do. Yeah, could you leave the studio, Collin, completely, and then just come back in, and we'll bring you back in.
We'll wait for you because we've got you set up. You've got to do something really important for us. You're going to make all of us cry with this next one, I guarantee you, because, you know, we've all been around. We've seen many elections. This one is probably, I think, for our lifetime, the most important one that we'll hopefully ever be involved in.
I hope there isn't one worse than this.
No, I hope not. I hope, like I said, everything rights itself. We are going to be all co-anchoring this, all being coming in and out. How you doing, Collin?
Good. How is everyone? Is it better?
Still breaking up.
Weird.
Yeah, it's the sound.
The sound.
Yeah, check your connection a little bit. I know that you're patched in. I would just double check your connections because you look clear. You know what? This is, you know, arguably the most 2020 opening that we've had for Piano Bar Live. It's just very fitting.
How's that sound now,
Right.
Collin? You look clearer.
How's that? Is that better?
You're back.
Look at that!
You're back.
You're gorgeous, like
my
you should be.
my nice, beautiful condenser mic was unplugged.
You see this technology. Hey, Collin, was
Yes.
this your first? Was this the first year that you voted?
No, I voted. I think I started voting last year. I think for something.
Okay.
I voted for something in North.
So
for
this
some,
this was a year.
I remember it was either 2018 or 2019, but my first official like presidential election was this year. Yes.
Is this year,
Right.
and you voted in North Carolina. How was your
I did.
experience?
It was not bad. It was raining, so that was a bummer. But we stood in line for only like 30 minutes. We went through very, very nice people, and then we went home and got Starbucks and chilled.
You know, it's funny, but most of the people that I've experienced over the last couple of weeks have been very nice people. I have to say, one of the results of all of that's been going on is I think people are actually realizing that they can say hello to other people and that they can engage other people, and that we all are on this one big boat sailing somewhere. Hopefully, we'll be reaching our destination and disembarking shortly with some good news. But before that, I just want to set this next number up. You're going to do it, Collin, from where you are. The folks that are in this room with you, we all were around pretty much, maybe not Tony, but we remember the 60s. And we're going to say that you don't. I know, Mardie. We're going to say that it was definitely turbulent. Man, it was crazy. And in 68 and 69 and 70, there was a lot going on. And it was the result of things that happened prior that were very disturbing. And this song that you're going to do is something that came out of that period. And I hope it brings everybody to the same place. And that is, it's up to you to get us there, but go for it.
Thank you. Has anybody here seen my old friend Abraham? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good they die young. You know, I just looked around and he's gone. Has anybody here seen my old friend John? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good they die young. You know, I just looked around and he's gone. Has anybody here seen my old friend Martin? Can you tell me where he's gone? He freed a lot of people, but it seems the good they die young. You know, I just looked around and he's gone. Didn't you love the things they stood for? Didn't they try to find some good for you and me? And we'll be free someday soon. It's gonna be one day. Has anybody here seen my old friend Bobby? Can you tell me where he's gone? I thought I saw him walking up over the hill with Abraham, Martin, and John.
Thank you, Collin.
Yeah. Give it up.
So here we are. We're all back here together. We're working this together. We're co-anchoring. One of the things that we are going to do during the course of the show tonight is kind of keep you up to date about what we might see happening on the screens that are the television screens from CNN and MSNBC. And so, Mardie, I see you looking at a screen. Is there anything you see we can know about?
Michael's going to give you the report.
Well, from what I've seen, they're specifically dealing with Florida now because I think the Panhandle reports in next, and that's heavily Republican. I don't think Biden has built up enough of a lead to withstand the Panhandle, so I'm not particularly optimistic about Florida. But where they have reported, Biden's run about 4 or 5 percentage points ahead of where Hillary was.
Right.
So it might.
I mean,
Florida to me would be gravy, but I wasn't counting on. I never count on Florida.
but Biden's winning Vermont.
Yeah, Biden's won Vermont and Trump's won Indiana.
That's
Like Vermont.
So we're all getting that maple syrup, and we're just
Ben and Jerry's.
Absolutely. Florida is an interesting state. Florida is such an interesting state because of the diversity of the size of the state and the diversity. I know that there are so many New Yorkers that went down to Florida in the 70s, 80s, and continue to go down there. You know, I'm not sure how all of them are voting. I mean, sometimes when you leave New York, you become another person. You think that you can get to somewhere else and that it doesn't matter. But I will tell you from being raised and born here that there are certain things that were ingrained in us New Yorkers that I'm hoping is been spread out there. And, you know, a lot of people come from New York and have their roots back to New York and specifically Brooklyn. So, again,
I'm just going to say Florida is an interesting state the way that 2020 is an interesting year.
Yes.
Not really kind of interesting.
It feels like there's always something happening in Florida that you're just shaking your head at.
Florida man.
Florida man's really coming for us.
Yeah, though I did actually do that one, and everybody knows how to do that. They just have to
Thank you, Stephen Aaron.
Google Florida
Yeah.
man and your date of your birth, and that tells you some craziness, right?
That's right.
Yeah, you can see that Stephen
Mine
Aaron
was
just.
something wild.
You can see that. Do you see that
Oh.
Stephen Aaron just below? Just that we're. I mean, it's going to be a neck and neck race, but I am seeing actually here. I happen to have CNN up, not my usual, but I have CNN up, and I'm also seeing, at least at this point, that Biden's ahead. But I mean, Michael, you bring up some excellent points. It's no time for counting chickens.
Not yet. Not yet.
Alabama East is coming in.
Right.
Okay. There you go. That's that panhandle.
Right.
It is.
Well, we can move on to another state or two. Is there anything else you see? Anything else? Otherwise, I think it might be time for us to have some music to soothe the savage beasts. Are you guys ready down there, Mardie and Michael?
We've got some nice escapism for you for the next song. Let me just change my sound.
Sounds good.
Hang on. And when the sky is a bright canary yellow, I forget every cloud I've ever seen. So they call me a cockeyed optimist, immature and incurably green. I have heard people rant and rave and bellow that we're done and we might as well be dead. But I'm only a cockeyed optimist, and I can't get it into my head. I hear the human race is falling on its face and hasn't very far to go. But every whippoorwill is selling me a bill and telling me it just ain't so. I could say life is just a bowl of jello and appear more intelligent and smart. But I'm stuck like a dope with a thing called hope, and I can't get it out of my heart. Not this heart.
And there's an example of how music is powerful. Toggle off. And the point that I want to make is Rodgers and Hammerstein, they obviously wrote several really important musicals that were early on, and the issue of racial injustice was one that ran through, starting with Showboat, and then Oklahoma was within our own country, that the issues that we had, but then South Pacific, which obviously dealt with the issue of trying to understand the Asian and American, and how it all worked. And the theory in there was that music introduced people that had not even thought about these racial injustices that were going on, especially right after, when South Pacific came on. There was still a lot of anger and hatred toward the Japanese because of the war that we had just finished. So there's an example of music and musicals that really help move it along. Now, in retrospect, people look at them and say, well, they're not exactly perfect. I am of the feeling that they should be left as is, as explained when they happened, and then people should be able to know that point, that they are timepieces.
One of our good friends, Michael Dale, posted the other day, originalism is not for the Constitution, it's for Broadway musical revivals.
Here.
And it's so important to remember that so many of these musicals like Showboat and Oklahoma and all that kind of stuff were a product of their time. It reminds me of the old Bugs Bunny cartoons and stuff, a lot of people were talking about the animations at a time and were like, this is extremely racist and not good, and we really don't want to see this. And the animators were like, if we changed it, then it would be doing a disservice to understanding where people were at the time. So there's a disclaimer in front of all these original animations that are like, while we do not agree with what is shown on the screen, it is important to remember that this is where America was in their history and how we've grown in animation and stuff like that.
Well, and what's the point of going to a show if you identify perfectly with every single person who's on that stage? I mean, shouldn't I mean, the whole point is it's a you get to see different perspectives and whatnot. And I have to say, it specifically about South Pacific, that was just a show that really seemed to, I think, of so many of them, really gotten the short shrift. And people forgot that just how pointed it was about the issue of racism. And fresh.
A lot of the songs. The producers did not want a lot of the songs in the show. They were like, take them out. And Rodgers and Hammerstein were like, no, we're not going to.
Yeah.
Well, exactly, and that's usually what happens is that we have a lot of people who don't remember anything about what had happened, what's happened, and the fact that people keep taking it out. Everyone has their own revisionist history, which means that. You've got young people who say, well, I don't know if that ever happened because they can't find it anywhere and no one's talking about it. And this is the big problem, is that we don't talk about it. It's still happening and most people don't talk about it anymore. And also the record of it that has been in film and in theater and life is gone because people decided, well, we don't want to show that anymore. Well, I think we should show it because this is the reason why people forget.
Of course, one of the things we have to worry about is because of all of the technology and the easy animation and things like that is the recreation of history and not letting people know what is real and what is not and blurring that line.
Yeah.
I saw a video.
I know enough people that can't even recognize a very poorly photoshopped still image when they see it, let alone some of these deep fakes they can do with video now.
Right.
I was on YouTube. Sorry.
That's a whole other kettle of fish.
Yeah,
the most bizarre one that I saw was apparently when they landed on the moon. They didn't know whether there was actually going to be a successful landing and getting off the moon. And so Richard Nixon, who was president then at that time, recorded a message for the country that was the successful return of the astronauts, as well as they recorded one if they couldn't get off the moon. So they actually had footage of Richard Nixon talking about, unfortunately, the astronauts would have to, stay on the moon and they'd given their life for, et cetera, et cetera. And then they placed that within the context of Walter Cronkite doing the moon landing and all other kinds of things that led up to it. And it was a video that was put together. And it's like, if somebody just stumbled on that, the whole idea of the moon landing is a totally different thing. And we know that we've already been hearing for the last 40 years since it was that it might have been made up in a studio. So these are really important.
About context.
Everybody needs to pay attention.
Well, and I just back to that South Pacific thing, because you're talking about context. And I think the one point that I think we always forget is, let's not forget when they're dealing with racism, they're actually dealing with Nellie Forbush's racism and actually dealing with Cable's own racism, and they're wrestling with it. And how much more, and maybe there are audiences that could say, oh my gosh, I recognize myself in that. And I have these feelings and I don't know what to do with them. That's interesting. That's transformative. And that's the kind of thing that I think can actually change minds without browbeating people. You just present the dramatic argument and let it play on people.
And in art, so many times the most powerful lesson doesn't come from the person who has been of the highest moral standard the whole time. It's the person who was wrong and then realized they were wrong and went forward. And I'm reminded of American History X at the end when, he realized that he's like come to change kind of the way he's thought about life, but because of the hatred that he's shown. I'm not going to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, because I know a lot of people my age probably haven't seen it. But it like the hatred that he's already sown throughout the whole movie comes back to haunt him, and even though he's kind of changed his ways, hatred just breeds more hatred.
It sure does. So before we go any further, though, I'm just curious, Michael, you're there. You got that screen in front of you. Any news that we can be bringing out there to announce? I see some stuff popping up.
All I see right now is in one county in Ohio,
Mahoning County, Ohio.
Mahoning County, Ohio, Biden is performing 11.9% better than Clinton did in 2016.
That's good.
So, and Ohio is going to be a state that we will know tonight because they count the absentee and mail-in immediately.
Right.
So if Biden takes Ohio, that doesn't look good for you know who. And that's all.
Part of the problem, of course, is every place has got to, even though we've set it up in the Constitution, that each state takes, and actually it's a good thing that each state is taking care of their own elections and how they run them, because that is keeping people from being able to control it from the top down.
Right.
Each state has its ability.
The other total I saw, and not knowing much about the state of Georgia, is that the early reviews. Can you tell? Anyway,
it's a hit.
It's a hit. The early returns seem to indicate a Trump lead, but the Trump lead is from mostly rural areas, which means that Atlanta and Athens and the other big cities in Georgia have not come in. And
what other big cities are there in Georgia?
I'm sure there's a few.
Okay. But anyway.
But if that looks the way just as out of the corner of my eye, if Georgia and Ohio go to Biden, that would be a good thing.
I'm from Ohio, so I have a vested interest in my state turning blue. It's been embarrassing. So
IO.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about North Carolina. I was just looking at the TV in the other room, and currently it's too close to call. Like it's too early to call what it will be for North Carolina, but God.
Well, we can all hope as the results come in.
Yeah.
That things turn. I mean, obviously we're blue here. All of us are blue here. And if anybody out there hasn't gotten that message and you want to go away because you don't want to hear us anymore, feel free.
You're watching musical theater numbers. If you haven't gotten it, I'm wondering why you're watching.
Right. So I guess we're ready.
All the talented people.
Yeah, it is. Here we are. So Aaron, are you ready? We have another number coming from you. If you would, we'll let you take it away.
I'm ready. Got to do that toggle thing. In 1900, James Weldon Johnson wrote a poem entitled Lift Every Voice and Sing, and his brother John wrote the music that accompanies it. In 1919, the NAACP dubbed the song the Negro National Anthem because of its power in voicing a cry for liberation and affirmation for the African American people. In 2008, a jazz singer named Renee Marie actually was asked to sing the national anthem at an event in Denver, Colorado. And she caused a little bit of a controversy because she actually substituted the words of Lift Every Voice and Sing into the song. lift every voice and sing, and earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound like the rolling sea. Voices of God, see the life we've given. Sing a song of hope for the love present we've given. Oh, secret and for never living God. Let us march on to victory is won.
And that is the power of song and music. Full display.
Thank you.
So, in history, in times in history, music has been pivotal. So there was a moment in time back in my parents' time, and they had asked Marian Anderson, if you don't know who she was, it's time to Google her. And she was supposed to perform in a theater setting in Washington, D.C. And the Daughters of the American Revolution, they was the DAR as they were known. They took back. They wouldn't. They shut down that performance. They wouldn't let her. And so, when that happened, music and the spirit and all of that took over. And fortunately, at that time, Eleanor Roosevelt was there, and she stepped in, and she gave Marian Anderson the platform to sing for the American people from the Lincoln Memorial. Very pivotal moment in time and bringing down and changing patterns. Again,
Yeah, it certainly was. And Eleanor Roosevelt gave up her membership to the DRR. She said, this is ridiculous that we are allowing this to happen. Many of those kinds of things happened during that time. And there were a few Eleanor Roosevelts around to actually stop that from going on and trying to move forward with what was happening within this country.
Yeah, I'm hoping that people that are that do have membership to things that aren't really healthy, reevaluate where they are with it. I thought we were starting to see a movement with the against being a part of the gun lobby. People were giving up their memberships, but they seem to have rebounded a bit. But certainly, so far things have been peaceful today. Fortunately, from what I can see, things have been peaceful today, and the whole issue of being able to bring guns into voting places, it's kind of horrendous that even have to be a discussion in this time and age. Hey, Michael and Mardie, you got your eyes glued on that screen. Before we go to the next number, can you give us a little update? Is there anything else interesting happening?
8 o'clock. New polls just right now are coming up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Kentucky, not surprisingly, has gone for Trump. Florida is too close to call. New Jersey goes to Biden.
Massachusetts to Biden, Maryland to Biden.
I'm from Maryland, so yeah.
Delaware.
There we go. Yeah.
Delaware. All right.
Wow, we're seeing the whole 8 o'clock slate.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, they're showing it now. So
Yeah.
Starting to pop up now. Folks, wherever you are watching the election, mix yourself a drink, sit back. Don't shy away from it. We need to follow. We need to follow what's happening, and hopefully the continuance of the peace of our nation continues through the evening, and we see results that that will give us some hope for the future. We have Collin here, and he's going to do a number from a show that's one of those shows that again it moved things along and spotlighted things that aren't really boy, it's a shame we still have these issues. The show set in Georgia, in the Atlanta area. There's obviously a Jewish theme in the show. Georgia, by the way, in that election that they have going on for senator, they haven't, obviously, some people haven't learned. John Ossoff's photo was taken by the Republican candidate running for that office, and they elongated his nose so that he would appear to be more Jewish, which is insidious. So, Collin, I'm going to turn it over to you to do a number from a friend of ours, by the way, Jason Robert Brown, a show that he is responsible for called Parade.
Go to bed at night, hoping when I wake, this will all be gone like it was just a dream, and I'll be home again, back again in Brooklyn, back with people who look like I do, and think like I do, and talk like I do, and then the sun rises in Atlanta again. These people make me tense. I live in fear they'll start a conversation. These people make no sense. They talk and I just stare and shut my mouth. It's like a foreign land. I didn't understand that being Southern's not just being in the South. When I look out on all this, how can I call this home? These men belong in zoos. It's like they've never seen civilization. The Jews are not like Jews. I thought that Jews were Jews, but I was wrong. I thought I would be fine, but 4 years down the line with every word, it's very clear I don't belong. I don't cuss, I don't drawl, so how can I call this home? Home calls, and I'm free of the southern breeze, free of magnolia trees and endless sunshine. Evermore lives the dream of Atlanta, but not mine, not mine. A Yankee with a college education, whom by his own design is trapped within the land that time forgot. I'm trapped inside this life, and trapped beside a wife who would prefer that I say howdy, not shalom. Well, I'm sorry, Lucille, but I feel what I feel, and this place is surreal. So how can I call this home?
Thanks, Collin.
You and your song selections, Collin. You and your song selections. Bam.
Great
Living
song.
in North Carolina, I was like, I've felt these feelings before.
Yeah. The nice part there is that that Georgia's come a long way from
It
where it was then.
Certainly has.
And we're hoping that Georgia, that vote is heavy in Georgia. We have friends down in Columbus, Jimmy Rutland, and Joe, you're down in Columbus. I hope that everybody is being safe. Of course, there are places that you want to be safe because there's going to be, there's going to be bad feeling between certain people because people are taking this election very seriously, and there's always got to be a winner and a loser. Hopefully the loser, whoever it is, we're used to people and that peaceful transfer, and that is so essential to what we have to see happen here.
And for people out there who are not aware, the story of Parade is based on a true story where a little girl was raped and murdered, and they blame the person that went to jail for it was blamed solely because he was Jewish. And they imprisoned him, and as he was about to be released, the people of the town took him and hung him.
And
for those of you,
go ahead.
For those of you who know it, it's the story of Leo Frank.
Yeah.
And for those that aren't Jewish, go look up Sacco and Vanzetti and see what they did to other ethnic groups. And then all you have to know is how many, strange fruit, how many Black Americans were destroyed, killed, hung in our country during the history. Aaron, you're on a mute. Aaron, you're on a mute.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, it's.
Aaron,
I think you're double. I think you're double. Just simply double clicking that.
I'm being shut down already. No kidding. They were mutilated. They weren't just murdered. They were mutilated. And hanging from trees. So that song, the Billie Holiday song, "Strange Fruit," is about that. So it's really crazy what was happening to people of different nationalities and of different ethnic groups throughout the centuries here in the United States.
I'm feeling better about where we are than where we were. Part of that, the Black Lives Matter movement, I think, had a major positive impact on getting people's attention. Again, that attention should have taken place in the late 60s and early 70s. A lot of us thought it had. It was just a pause button there, and then we went back into some bad times, and things didn't change that dramatically. I will say back in 72, there was a candidate that came out of Brooklyn, my homeland, as I say, by the name of Shirley Chisholm. And if you want to hear words spoken of the time and truth, you can go back onto YouTube and listen to some of what Shirley Chisholm had to say. Of course, she also got shut down because it was too dramatic of an idea to have a Black woman as president. And they dealt with it a little bit in that made for television, Tony, that we both watched.
Mrs. America.
Mrs. America.
Catch it on Hulu. I mean, it's it really, I mean, the women who shaped the early 70s in politics, basically, Bella Abzug and I mean, the whole Betty Friedan. So, I mean, it definitely worth seeing.
And of course, there was always that split because when the ERA was being pushed, there was actually pushback from some of the women in America. And, we see women as being one solid block, but it's not.
I don't think Mardie does.
A lot of women have internalized their own oppression. They've internalized the patriarchy because a lot of white women especially have found ways of having privilege within the patriarchy. They get taken care of. I'm speaking very broadly here, obviously, but a woman will say, I get taken care of. I don't have to work. My husband pays for everything. I don't want that to change. And it's I meet a lot of white women who consider themselves anti-feminist. They don't want anything to change. And it's like, you don't get it. I'm voting for your rights too. They don't want them.
With freedom comes responsibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's that.
And the notion of not changing, I mean, or what are we supposed to do? Consistently put the toothpaste back in the tube? Are we going to stop being a global society? Are we going to roll back rights? It's like, deal with the present. Deal with this. This is our reality right now. It's like when people say about even COVID, oh, go back to before. Breaking news, there is no before. That's right. And why would we even want to? Because we know more now.
Right.
And hopefully we'll demand more. And, so we'll see.
We'll see. But on that note, I'm ready to hear Aaron Lee Battle sing another song.
Oh,
me too.
I'm always ready to hear Aaron Lee Battle sing another
And
song.
by the way, Aaron, thank you for last week, our Halloween version.
Yeah.
I know that you're doing 2 weeks in a row with me. You like the Arthur Treacher of this show. I love that. Not everybody's going to know. They're going to just think I'm talking fish and chips. But
I was going to say, is that fish and chips or something?
it was. But he sat there with Merv Griffin for a long time.
I know.
And it was an interesting choice. But, all right, let's move along. Let's hear it, Aaron.
Paul and Silas jammed in jail. Got no money for the baby bell. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on. Paul and Silas began to shout. Jail doors open and they walked out. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on. Got my hand on the gospel plow. Won't take nothing for my journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Hold on, the only thing that we did wrong, staying in the wilderness for too long. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on. Mr. Simon Fishburne on the percussion. The only thing that we did right was the day that we started to fight. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on. Hold on, now you know what we must do, even though if the fighting is not through. And keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize and hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. prize and hold on, hold on.
We all need to. We all need to hold on for sure. It's going to be a long night ahead. I'm just curious. I want to get back to maybe some results. Michael,
McConnell was reelected. I'm sorry to say.
who
Boo!
was?
McConnell.
Mitch McConnell.
Hard to imagine, huh? Such amazing. Well, it's going to be, that one's going to be one. I almost, in a certain way, I'm okay with that as long as it goes, the Senate goes the way that it needs to. He'll have to sit there and listen. He's going to have to be in that position of being forced to sit there and listen.
Frostbitten hands will have to just
Yeah.
sit there.
And listen. And you know the hands will be right there listening.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
No,
Style of listening.
that's not, that's a strange dude. That's all I could say. Very strange man. Very strange.
Yeah.
But also somebody that's left in the past that somehow has kept himself reinventing himself, and not even reinventing. He just keeps rolling along with the same, crap. But
He stays effective. He stays effective.
a lot of times people vote because they feel that the person that they have is representing them is important if they're there already, because they know where all the buttons are, etc. So I'm assuming that not everybody that voted for him really goes along with his philosophies, but that's unfortunate news. Anything else going on that we should know
Biden
about?
leading in Texas?
Yeah, but not by enough or.
Yeah, but it's
Later,
very early.
yeah.
It's very early. But Biden is currently leading in Texas.
Amazing news out of Texas, though, over the last
No,
few days.
not very many results out of Texas, but it was a nice number. It was a nice thing.
Yeah, the story out of Texas, maybe, unfortunately, it may not be the short game, but it's the long game. If not now, soon.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Texas is one that either way, but even the fact that it's in play is a testament to the power of all those people that went out and voted.
Yes.
Their number was enormous, better than they've ever done before. They were actually one of the least voting of all the states, and they went the opposite way this time.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep moving now, but we have our mystery guest, I hope is in the back. Hey, Matt. Matt Berman, you back there?
I am indeed.
Sure you are. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing swell. How you doing?
Good. I'm good. We're doing okay. Thank you, by the way, again for stepping in and helping us move this show along today.
Of course, and
Much
thank Tony for
appreciated.
sneaking around backstage with me. So
Yeah. Tony has
sneaking
been
around
backstage since we went virtual, and thank you, Tony. Couldn't do this without you, Tony. And we absolutely couldn't do it without you. Except we have to figure out ways of you to be able to get out of here every now and then as you're getting work.
Yeah.
Which, work is a good thing.
Work conflicts.
You get work, take it. That's what I say. I'm working, by the way. I'm working at Ellen's Stardust Diner, and we went through our first month, and we survived. Everybody there, I feel safe. My staff feels safe, and the guests that we've had come in feel safe. I hope, folks, if you come to New York is one of the safer places to go. So we're ready to bring in our mystery guest. Now, I want to set this up a little bit. We've had her on the show before. She wrote co-wrote one of the great songs that the people in our community and the cabaret and piano bar community have performed. It's had so many people have covered it because it's a wonderful song. And this song that we're going to play tonight, well, let me just bring our mystery guest on. Matt, you can go and just bring on Michelle if you want.
Hello,
Michelle,
everybody. It's
Hey.
a close
Michelle.
when you get to New York. I'm in Venice, California.
And Michelle, as soon as you can get to New York, we're waiting because we want to get back to see you in live performance.
Oh, I can't wait. I really miss being there, and I miss people there. There's so many people that I love in New York. So.
And that song I was talking about is my favorite year.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
You
There
came
was
on.
a great video last week of Michael Mackesy. Did you all see that when he sang at a town hall? It was gorgeous.
Yeah, so many people have covered that song because it's a one. I mean, it's just a great song, and it makes you think about what your favorite year is. And I'm hoping that the kids, KIDZ, will feel that 2020, even though it's been challenging,
Or
is going to be
2021.
2021 is going to be one of their favorite years. Yeah, as soon as it can come. As soon as it can come. So we have a video of this is a video that you have of a song that you wrote. Tell me a little bit about the video.
Let me tell you a little backup. I wrote this song also with Karen Gottlieb, who co-wrote My Favorite Year with me. We were writing a musical in the mid-'70s about the first woman president of the United States. Can you all see this? This is from, wait a minute.
Yeah, there you go.
This is from that. I had to run in when you were talking about the women's movement and grab it. So we wrote this musical called The American Fox. It was about a woman named Eva Mae Fox who wound up being the first woman president of the United States. And we had literally 3 sets of Broadway producers option the show. Everyone loved the show and loved the score. But then they would get to this moment where they would say, but we're really not ready for a woman president of this country. It's 40-something years later, and we're still ahead of it. I thought when Hillary ran 4 years ago, it was time to revive the musical, but we'll see. We'll just
hold
see.
on. It still may be something
Kamala in 4 years, right?
Yeah. And the song from that musical, I want to set it up a little because I think that it's really important, and it's going to seem maybe a little heavy-handed to some people because it says what it's going to make. There's a message in it for sure.
Let me just tell you something about that song, because when in our show was it had a cartoon. It was like cartoony the way How to Succeed is cartoony. It had that kind of feeling, and it was 1975. We were so innocent; none of us could have imagined. So this song was written very tongue in cheek,
right?
And then a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at, particularly at Mitch McConnell and thinking these words could come out of this man's mouth like it would fit him like
absolutely.
A cloak suit.
Yeah.
And so I went back searching for a recording of the song, and everything I had was on cassette from like 1976. So you know what that sounded like. Even Matt, you couldn't have even saved it. So I called our original cast when we did this in the 70s was George Ball and Amanda McBroom. George is Amanda's husband, and he's like a basso profundo, and they're both extraordinary actors and singers. I thought when they first read through our script, we must have written it really well because it sounded so great. I didn't realize that it was just in the mouths of great actors. I've since come to appreciate that. But anyhow, I called George and said, can we please make a new recording of this? And he said, sure. So 45 years later, George is singing the song that he sang then. And it's fascinating. Then I asked Wendy Lane Bailey to make a video for the song. And I just said, I think we could get away with this. I don't think Facebook would pull it down. We could put these faces of these politicians to this video. And she sent me back a video that went so far beyond what I had envisioned. It's very powerful. So
it's really about criminals is what it is. And I want to just add another layer of history to it. And that is, and most of us actually, when we were in our formative years going to school still, the Machiavelli wrote,
the Prince
playbook. This is the playbook that people have picked up on and used. And the gist of it is that people find they've used that phrase that the end justifies the means. And I think that no longer can be something that people can accept in our world. We can no longer run with, you can do anything as long as you can get what you want. And when we see people like that, which obviously we've just been dealing with, there needs to be shown where they're coming from, and people need to be aware that that's just not acceptable. If you need to check out that, I bet you if you go into the attic and open up a box of books, you'll find that in there. And also 1984 is another one that we definitely all studied back in the day.
Yeah.
But without further ado, we're going to play this number from that show, Michelle, that we hope comes back.
The American Fox is the name of the show.
All right, Matt, we're ready whenever you are.
It's advisable to appear merciful, humane, just, and sincere. Make yourself toe that moral line. And when that ill wind blows, it's always best to be disposed to change your tactic in the nick of time. Stop me if I'm handing you a line, but the end justifies the means every time. I would be the first to say that you should never, never, never stray from whatever you feel is the greater good. But when the need arises and you're facing your first crisis, my advice is you absolutely should. You've got a right to change your mind, and the end justifies the means every time. The only way to push a plan is simply any way you can. You'll thank me for telling you so. For what is truth but compromise when you don't know where it lies and just how far it goes? Oh, I have found to my delight that Machiavelli was quite right. To lose it all, now that would be a crime. So since I'm already in it, I might as well win it, 'cause the end justifies the means every time. Stop me if I'm handing you a line, but the end justifies the means every time. Yes, the end justifies the means every time. Oh, the end justifies the means every time.
So that image at the end, that face kills me. That makes me cry every time I look at it.
Again, I hope everybody is learning the end. The means do not. The end cannot be us just allowing. We need to be in charge of our destiny. We voted. A lot of people voted in this election. That was the right thing to do. And hopefully we don't have to experience this kind of divided nation that we are on this election day, and we figure a way to put pieces back together. And show
that
some love.
notion of the end justify the means, it was playing on me, since I saw this, because most importantly, because I feel like that I thought, at least that was the bill of goods I thought I had learned, was that in America, the end didn't always justify the means, and that's why people look to us. It doesn't mean that we got it right all the time, but some things you just don't do. For instance, you don't cage children because you don't like the way that immigration policy is.
Right.
To me, I humbly submit that should be off limits. That's the sort of thing that has brought people here because they could escape that sort of thing for all of these years, and that we all had a shot at happiness, and we got away from it. Hopefully we'll get back to it.
I mean, it is not an exaggeration to say that this is real life villains, like movies and TV, and this is villains.
Yeah, and what's funny was when we wrote the show, our villains were very cartoon villains. They weren't quite Snidely Whiplash, but I just keep the phrase, "You can't make this shit up." We didn't. Right. But there were things in that show. I mean, I was just thinking about, there was a line Karen wrote in the script that said, "Where conquest has failed, business will succeed."
Again, such truth.
Again, just so prescient. We were saying things and we had no idea how far into the future they were reaching.
I think that going back to the time, also there were mistakes that were made.
Oh yeah.
We actually, there was a landslide victory for Richard Nixon in 1972.
Yeah.
That unraveled as we found out exactly what a crook he was after he said, "I am not a crook." And the problem, unfortunately, I think one of the problems that has exacerbated where we are today is that, and I understand why Gerald Ford pardoned him, but perhaps that pardon shouldn't have happened, because the persons that were behind that whole rigmarole, Roger Stone, is behind what's now happened again.
That's right.
That crooks are in there, and they got
away with it once.
We got away with it once in this crookery. So, we moved from that period of time. Boy, I can't get the vision of Mitch McConnell singing that song out of my head.
Well, what I love is that Mitch McConnell's face comes up right when the lyric says, "You've got a right to change your mind."
Oh, yeah.
Lindsey Graham and then him. And I'm thinking, does their word mean nothing? Clearly, it doesn't mean anything to them. It means nothing to them.
Right. No. Hopefully their words and misdeeds have made enough of an impression on people that went out to vote to make a change coming up. I want to toss it back to Michael and Mardie. You guys have the best screen visibility to give us a little update maybe before we round out the show.
There is a lot of good news, at least for now, right, guys?
No.
He's looking at CNN. You're looking at MSNBC. I think.
Yeah, I think that we're in for a long night.
Oh well, yeah.
It's going to be a long week.
I think
because there's a lot of ballots that'll be still being counted for a long time.
Oh yeah.
I'm hopeful about Ohio. I'm less hopeful about Texas. Florida is gone.
Ohio and Texas, by the way, since you brought it up, I'm trying to go by memory now because it's now, of course, off the screen. But like with sort of, at least at this point, like 50 to 60% of the both of those were at this point far ahead. I mean, there was a nice spread, like a high single, low double digit. North Carolina, yay, and Texas, and even Ohio, which was, early in the evening, but at least it's glimmers. Well, I'll take a glimmer.
Anything on Pennsylvania yet?
No.
Not recently.
Nothing yet.
Okay.
Nothing yet.
I can only say that would be an amazing. I mean, for a place that was the birthplace of our democracy, for that to be the place to end it, or to bring it alive again, it's a lot of. Thank you, all you Pennsylvanians that have gone out to vote. The most important thing is
I'm from Pittsburgh, honey.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
How you doing?
These guys from downtown for a cake.
Downtown, yes.
Washington and that. Don't get started.
Now they're speaking Pittsburghese.
we're gonna come back after this next number and say goodnight, so everybody can get glued to their televisions and watch things as they progress. But I'm going to turn it over to Mardie and Michael to do a little closeout musical number, and then we'll all be back on to chat one more time.
And Mardie, just for you, it's 54-44 in Ohio right now, with 44% of the precincts reporting. Let that propel you.
Let me fix my sound, and then we'll do a song for yous. Do a song for yous. Oh, Angel, we're gonna do a song for yous. Okay.
This is an arrangement done by Nat King Cole.
It was originally done by Nat King Cole, but as I heard it, it was performed by the great Mae Barnes. A one, two, three.
Grab your coat and get your hat. Leave your worries on the doorstep. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Can't you hear that pitter pat? Each happy tune is your step. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade with those blues on parade. Now I've got it made. This rover crossed over. If I never had a cent, I'd be rich as Rockefeller. Gonna step my feet on the sunny side of the street.
Grab your hat, coat, king, love socks, and everything. Leave your worries on the doorstep. Go and bye-bye. Direct your feet on the side of the street that's sunny, baby. Can't you hear the pitter-patter? The raindrops trickle down the fire escape ladder. Life's so sweet on the side of the street that's sunny. Used to walk in the shade with the blues on parade. Boys, I'm not afraid.
Why not?
'Cause old man trouble burst up like a bubble. If I never have a cent, I'll be rich as Rockefeller when he smokes a Panatella. Gold dust at my feet on the side of the street that's sunny. Grab your hat, coat, king, love socks, and everything. Leave your worries on the doorstep. Oh, sparkle plenty. Direct your feet on the side of the street that's sunny, baby. Can't you hear the pitter-patter? The raindrops trickle down the fire escape ladder. Life's so sweet on the side of the street that's sunny. Used to walk in the shade with the blues on parade. The monkey wrapped his tail around the flagpole. Boys, I'm not afraid. 'Cause old Natural Belly was a sweet-smelling fella. If I never have a cent, I'll be rich as Rockefeller when he smokes a Panatella. Gonna set my feet on the side of the street that's sunny.
If I never had a cent,
I'll be rich as Rockefeller. A gold dust at my feet on the sunny side.
on the sunny side.
On the sunny side of the street.
Thank you guys for adding a little fun, a little sun.
Dorothy Field.
That song written when in the mid 30s or late 30s?
I think so.
1928, I think.
What year?
And there 1928.
28.
Oh, wow.
And there is some controversy about who actually wrote it because it's attributed to Dorothy Fields and I can't remember who. But the rumor is that it was actually written by Fats Waller and that he gave them that song.
Ooh.
And I don't know how, but it's actually even in the Wikipedia entry about it. But if you think about all of the other songs that Dorothy Fields wrote, this doesn't sound too much like them. And the question of the meaning of the song has, it's been suggested that the song is about being African-American and passing for white.
Yeah.
Oh.
Being on the sunny side of the street.
Wow.
Something we didn't know.
Oh my goodness.
If you think of it that way, A, it really makes the song fascinating, and B, I don't have any right to sing it at all.
But it sounds very Fats Waller. It really does sound very Fats Waller.
Well, especially the way you're playing it, Michael, which was really great too. You're really wonderful rhythmic stuff. And I love your hand position. I'm sorry, this is pianist talk. I'm now, but your hand position is amazing because your fingers are so flat. I've never seen anybody play.
They're drumsticks.
There you go.
Perfect.
He
And
plays
so
piano
19
as a percussion instrument.
It is
1928.
considered a percussion instrument, but that was
Yeah.
really cool.
1928, as I recall, was the year that the stock market crashed also. And a lot of music was written. A lot of music was written then to try and keep the populace happy.
Yeah.
And it was the end of a golden age of music because the whole Roaring '20s and the American songbook that was written during that time was pretty amazing. But another example of music to make people happy would be Happy Days Are Here Again.
Right.
Which came a little bit later.
We're in the money.
Which Franklin Roosevelt was able to utilize to start to lift spirits for people that were dealing with another bad time in history, which was a depression that a president that was in office was ignoring was happening as people suffered. And we've now learned again that, we still have presidents that will let the American people suffer, which is really incredible, again, in 2020 to think about that this is something we have to even concern ourselves with. So one last look at the board, Michael. Is there anything
things are looking terrible in Florida and pretty promising in North Carolina.
Okay.
Well, there you go, North Carolina. See, Collin, every vote counts.
66% reporting. 66% reporting already in North Carolina.
That's great.
Let's keep it up, North Carolina.
North Carolina, again, another state where a lot of New Yorkers have settled to. So I'm sure that's having an effect.
Definitely understand. I mean, last year, I know that at least, my age range and my generation, last presidential election, did not vote just at all.
Right.
4 years ago. And this year, the astounding number of people that I know that have been advocating and telling people, and it's really my age range is really like, let's fix this.
Yeah.
Kudos to the youth this time around, for sure.
It's definitely and the bottom line is that it's your future. And it is extremely important that I hope that your generation doesn't ever forget what's happening now and makes those changes and continues to grow and vote and make positive change, because that's what who's going to take it all in the end is going to be your generation and fix it for us, because you are this is what's coming.
That generation is my greatest hope. I mean, the friends that I have who are Collin's age, in that age group, they are intelligent, they're well-read, they're enlightened. They literally don't see differences among people. They accept whatever gender people are, whatever race people are, whatever ethnic background people are, without judgment, and it would never occur to them to do so. I'll feel good when we're all in the old age home and we're in their hands. It'll be okay.
I see that same thing, Mardie. I see that younger generation really has very few of the issues that we see that we've had to deal with through our life. And again, I wish we had changed things up stronger in the late 60s and 70s, so we wouldn't have to be revisiting all of this now as we are.
But kudos for everyone who was around there who got the ball rolling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we just got to stay vigilant. Just because something starts to go away, or it seems like it doesn't go away, it just manifests in a different place. So you got to stay on it.
We're moving forward now to continue moving forward forever.
Yeah.
As I say, onward and up. I used to say onward and upward. Now I say on, and I think it's because, Michelle, you gave me the word. Onward, upward, and inward, and safely. It's time for everybody to reflect on how they are inside, where they are, and how we bring that out and all work together. I love people. I've gone cross country. I get that there are different people with different ideas. I also get the fact that a true democracy needs people to be able to have conversation. And running for the gun cabinet is not having conversation. And creating issues where you divide people is not helping the conversation that needs to happen. So, God willing, and the creek don't rise, as they'd say. Next week we are going to be back on Piano Bar Live, and thank you, Mardie and Michael. Thank you, Collin. Thank you, Aaron Lee Battle. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Michelle, and thank you in back there to Mr. Matt Berman.
And thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
We didn't want to miss that. You're all welcome. We didn't want to miss a Piano Bar Live. It felt good to have all of you here with me. I felt like I had a bunch of friends here, and we could have easily been sitting at Rose's turn watching election results or the duplex. I mean, some of us were. We did watch things happen like Reagan winning in 1980 and George Bush getting that election because of the politeness of we tend to be so polite, Democrats. If Al Gore hadn't been so polite, that might have been a different story as well. And we can't be, I don't know. It's like we have to keep an eye on what it is and not be rude, but also not bail into the polite part of it. Tony?
Well, don't collapse.
No.
There's a difference. You can be polite is different than collapsing. Respectful debate. Right. Be vigilant, but the coarsening of everything has been a real problem, and especially when it comes from the leaders, because everyone feels like they have a license to do that. And while it may feel good in the short term, it's not a very good long-term strategy, because we were given one directive, whether they meant it or not. The founders, it's like, you got to have this. You got to make it work. This is the only place in the world where the idea is that people from completely different backgrounds come together because they share the idea that everyone deserves a fair shot. So that's hard, and it's actually incumbent upon us. But I think that it's easier to go into our tribes. That's hard. Ask anyone who's married. Just that constant compromise when you're doing this big for my life.
Compromise.
So it's a hard job
that is not used much anymore.
It's certainly a matter of the extremes as well. I mean, this has been absolutely extreme to the point where it's actually horrifying that these people actually believe what they're saying and believe what they're doing is right or correct. And that's what is, I don't. Politeness has, as Tony, you're saying, it's not crumbling or backing down, but we have to be a little stronger about our positions and how we feel about this. And I think that's really one of the issues here, is that we're being socialites at a tea party when they're drinking like mill workers. So we really have to kind of, I'm not saying we need to go there with them, but we do have to figure out where our strengths are and what we got to do with it and how we need to.
We have to stop bringing a pillow to a knife fight, as everyone on the internet is saying. I mean,
that is true. But the other thing that's true is I don't really know that I've ever met anyone who was persuaded through browbeating. And especially if people feel like that they want to make a change, there needs to be room for contrition. I know that sounds like a very religious word, and I'm not religious, but there needs to be room for that. And again, we're living in a time where we have elevated the joy of piling on next level. And while it may feel good, what do we really want? And if we want the success of a group like this, where very different people come together, we got to do the hard work, of finding the commonalities again, because it's been 4 years at least since it feels like we've even tried, because it's been so gross.
Yeah, and
some of the blinders have to come off as well. And the commonality, it can only be achieved if people are actually listening to you. We fight more than we actually conversate. And we need to actually have a conversation with the people who feel this way. They've shut down. So a lot of them, when we see it, we talk about them. They've shut down so hard that you can't get in there with a nail file to actually have a decent conversation with them, to even disagree with what they're actually saying, because sometimes they don't know what they're saying.
There's a lot of
fear. Disagreeing.
There's a lot of fear at the bottom of a lot of this bravado that we see from the right. They're really afraid to examine themselves, to go back to your comment about going inward, Scott. They're afraid to examine themselves. They're afraid of what they might see, what they might learn. And so it's easier to just shut down. That has been my experience. And it's heartbreaking, actually, especially, when it's people that you care about.
But if you feel like there's no safe harbor, in a realization that then who would want to admit anything if they feel like, and I think we all can relate to that moment where it's like, gee, maybe I was my loyalty was misplaced, or I made a mistake. But if I'm going to be welcomed with a barrage, and I'm sorry, I know that there's been some, the politicians, have done some, it's unspeakable, but we all seem to want civility, but who's going to start?
And
well,
what Mardie, what you were saying about fear, and I feel like the root of that fear is the fear of not wanting to change, being comfortable where you are, being comfortable with who you are, and then realizing that, wait, who you are might be wrong. Does that mean I have to change? But I'm so comfortable. I don't care I don't care if this other person is sad. I'm not sad, so why would I change?
Yep.
And the understanding of empathy.
Sharing power.
This is all about power.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a white male, what I call faux Christian hegemony over everything for a very long time. And the threat of that changing even a little bit scares the hell out of a lot of people, and they will say and do stupid things in order to maintain that power.
But I agree with Tony. If people want to change their minds, if people want to get informed, if they want to change sides or whatever you want to call it, I think it's really important that we not use this cancel culture thing as a blanket response to anything we don't like. Because there are a lot of people that are in gray areas, and we need to give them a chance to make better decisions.
And evolve.
The movement, but not the people.
Mm-hmm.
And intelligent discourse. And I think we started it here with was a thrill to have you all on tonight. I'm glad that we were able to figure out a way to do Piano Bar Live. It feels like we could have all been sitting, like I said, in one of the piano bars in the day, just, chewing over the news and, discussing things. And conversation, again, is part of, no matter what happens this evening, we will continue to have, and it may take days, as Michelle mentioned. It could be weeks. We don't know. But I believe that there's a better angel, as John Meacham has mentioned on many occasions, and that we will find that better angel, and that we will find a better future for all of us, no matter how it rolls. We have
Inshallah.
That's what we have to do. So,
Yeah.
on that note, everybody, go back to where you have to be to see where it's going, and enjoy the evening. Again, it seems very peaceful out there tonight so far.
Yeah.
It would seem that peace has been the main thing that we can say. Thank goodness our country had an election without anything crazy going on.
Exactly.
Which could have, exactly. There's still things happening, but for the most part, I feel comfortable that America is intact.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Cheers.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.